You're listening to the e-commerce edition of Hello Moxie with Nicole Donnelly. In each episode, we speak with leaders in the e-commerce industry on promoting diversity in the tech sector, the latest e-commerce trends, and how B2B brands can innovate through e-commerce. Hello Moxie is sponsored by DMG Digital, a woman-owned marketing consultancy dedicated to helping B2B companies create exceptional customer experiences.
Hello, we are here at Meet Magento, Florida. I know you missed us, and I'm joined today by the amazing Noah Okenberg. Noah, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I'm just trying to, avoid eating all of your cookies all at once right here. And
I know, they look delicious, don't they?
they do. And this whole setup's amazing too. I love bringing the tea kettle.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wanted my guests to feel at home when they came here, and there's nothing more comforting than a hot cup of tea, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me pour you one, because here we go.
All right.
Yes.
Is this a Hello Moxie thing that you take on the road with you, or is it just a Meet Magento Florida unique?
No, this is the start of something bold and exciting.
I love it.
So yeah. So thanks for joining me. What are you? So first of all, I have to tell you guys, Noah and I, man, you were the one that introduced me to this community. How long has it been? Like a year and a half ago or something like that?
Yeah, like maybe 2.5 years. A year and a half. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like that.
And really, you saved my tail because we had a keynote that fell through, pretty close to showtime for Meet Magento
3
New York.
weeks. 3 weeks before.
Yeah, and
So
amazing.
it was my lucky break.
Yeah, I mean, for all of us,
Yeah.
like the win-wins. Those were
Yeah.
that was definitely one.
Yeah, you were probably sweating.
I mean, yeah.
I remember when you emailed me
Right.
and you were like, "Hey, do you want to be the keynote speaker?" I thought you were playing a joke on me. For
Would
real.
I do that?
I was like, "Noah, he has it in him. He would mess with me this way." And then I got on the phone with you, and I was like, "Oh no, he's for real. He really needs some help."
Yeah, it was perfect.
So yeah, but that was so fun.
It was great.
And,
you were perfect for it. You rocked it.
I loved
Yeah.
it, and plus I got to be introduced to this amazing community who I just I can't say enough great things about this wonderful community. They're so inclusive and supportive and collaborative, and it's been really, really great. There's a lot of great people. So thank you.
Yeah,
I will just have to thank the person who bombed out on you at the last minute.
Right, yeah.
Whoever that person
Totally.
was. Thank
Yes.
you, whoever bombed out. I'm so glad you did.
Yeah. We'll omit that from the record. But no, it was fine. And there was a really legit reason. Too,
Oh, I'm sure.
But you know what you mentioned about the community is true, because you don't have to be here for a long time. You just have to show you care and put in the effort and the work, and that's what's kind of respected and embraced versus, maybe folks they've just been around forever. So you got to keep earning your stripes in this community too. You can't just live on a namesake. The contribution and the time that you invest is really what counts.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Well, cool. Well, what are you? So our podcast, we talk all about women in history and the women who've inspired you. And so I would love to hear from you. Who is a woman that's inspired you, Noah?
Women that inspired me. Well, we are actually a women-owned company as well. Mm-hmm. I'm 1/3 of it, and so the other 2/3 are very inspirational women. I mean, on a daily basis, hourly basis sometimes. We get to work together with Erin Hunt, who's around here, and Marisol Garcia, who is also our CFO and is also my wife. And so, just to be able to see the dynamics that we have. I mean, our engineering manager is a woman. To have a company that kind of breaks the mold in some cases. I'm a guy. There's no knock on guys, but it's just when people have different lived experiences and they have different, perspectives based on, all the different factors that make us unique. But women bring, their own special brand of, leadership and ingenuity and problem solving, and it's lovely just to be able to partake in that on a daily basis, to see that. So it inspires me constantly.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Yeah. I think it's so great to have that presence on the executive team, to have women in those positions. Yeah. And I think it's amazing that you've made that a priority. I was talking with someone earlier about anyone who's in a position of influence and power really should be very intentional about making sure they're bringing in diverse voices, not just women, but all different kinds of experiences, religious backgrounds, cultural backgrounds. It's so important for innovation. So what have you noticed most about having some women in your executive team?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you do need to be intentional about it, what you said, but also sometimes it just happens more organically when you have the people already there, right? So like, you know, when we were born as a woman-owned company, and it wasn't like, hey, we should bring in some women to make this, you know, big. Like, so we were there. It was Aaron, Marty, and I started it, and so, you know, that's in itself, it's a sort of I don't know, like kind of a beacon of leadership. It sets a bar that, you know, other women can like or say, hey, wow, this is great. I understand that like some of the challenges that we've had in male-dominated workspaces, we know we're not going to have those here, you know, particularly. I mean, like, you know, anything can happen, but still, I've seen that sort of understanding happen, you know, amongst a workforce, which kind of opens us up to not being so pigeonholed. You have an environment that doesn't have people in leadership that are representative of, you know, all the diversity of everything that you were mentioning, you know, I mean, then people don't get attracted to that, you know, and like, oh, I can never find, well, I'd love to employ women, but I don't know where the women are that want to work. Well, maybe that's because they're not looking for you, you know, because you're not. So it can be maybe difficult to get that started, but like that's where the work is worth it. And like what you mentioned, for me, just to be able to see how that attracts more talent to humans and women that otherwise I probably never would have been able to interact with. So
yeah, that's
really
true. That is really cool. If you can see it, you can be it. And so I think it's really great that you have that built in so that it's attracting other really amazing, awesome, talented women to join forces with your team. So, yeah, very cool.
And the industry needs it, you know, like, you know, we also work in heavy equipment manufacturing, and, you know, I work on the Workforce Solutions Task Force over there. And, you know, one of the issues like in that world is, you know, kids want to grow up and design websites and do marketing and be like software engineers. You know, there's this lack of like technicians and, you know, like welders and, you know, the skilled folks that do that stuff, because it's just more and more nobody wants to do that. But then you look at the demographics of the labor and the workforce in that industry, and it's like 98% men. I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's somewhere we could find, you know, people that want to do this job and are capable. Like, I just don't get it, you know, like. But so that's why I'm saying like industries need that. It's not just like a, hey, let's do the right thing or whatever, you know, like it's needed. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's beyond every other layer that it brings. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Well, what are you most like when you think ahead and you're thinking about like what you're looking forward to with e-commerce, what's on the horizon? What are you most excited about?
For the industry itself, or where we're going as a company?
Industry. Both.
I mean, it kind of is. It's kind of similar, but really how things are becoming more seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right way? Seamlessness, yeah. So
that's a word.
Yeah,
seamlessness.
But you know, I feel like, you know, how the different pieces. I was just sitting in a roundtable discussion at lunch with some folks that signed up for that, and around a lot of the topics were like how to get the extension marketplace like in a better place, more accessible, easier to use, easier to submit. Easier to find stuff, how to get, you know, features that are part of, you know, the Adobe Commerce, also in Magento open source, to have more of a seamless, like all the different partners. We're constantly looking at, you know, integrating multiple different business systems, and there's, you know, e-commerce platforms like Shopify that try to be the, you know, the SaaS all in one, and that's what people want in life. Like, we have so much crap going on in our daily lives that like trying to manage like multiple different vendors and multiple different platforms and multiple different tools is really hard, you know, because you've been on that side of the equation, and it's just like, and so
it is hard finding that balance, I think, right? Because, you know, especially in B2B, there's so much complexity. It's so hard to fit all that complexity into a SaaS solution sometimes. Right. But then the trade-off is that, you know, with that complexity and when you have so much customization, there's trade-offs there. It can be harder and more to maintain that, right? So it's like how you find that balance is important. But yeah, there does seem to be a much stronger appetite for SaaS these days. I think people think it's just like the easier way to move forward. So like, how are you addressing that with clients that maybe have a lot of complexity? Are you working with them to just like maybe recommend they adjust their workflows a little bit more so that it fits into the SaaS model? Or do you lean more on the set side of things where, you know, you want to customize it specifically to what they're business use cases? Like, how do you usually tackle that problem?
And so you got to start by breaking down like the narrative that us sales folks have created that doesn't exactly paint the full picture. You know, like, because platforms want to sell like we're the easy button, we're the all in one. You know, and that's great. I don't knock it. You know, that's our job in business development and sales, to kind of have a thought in people's mind of what something is. It's like, oh, they'll come in and say, like, you know, there's a platform like Salesforce Commerce Cloud who Salesforce acquired Demandware. And they're like, hey, look, we have this like platform where you get your CRM and your e-commerce and, you know, everything all in one. But the reality is there's still like, so people will come in and say, hey, I want that easy button. What they don't know is like there's still disparate systems in the back end, and like kind of you got to start by deconstructing that narrative. And sometimes it's impossible because they're just like, but no, I know it's an easy button. And you know, my cousin Susie sells, you know, like T-shirts, and it was so easy to roll up that shop.
If only it was that simple,
yeah, and I'm like,
right?
Like you're making like commercial grade air filtration systems that you sell out to like other businesses.
You can't ship that stuff parcel, you know?
Yeah, so it's there's a couple differences in the business.
Yes, so true, especially when you have custom price books and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so it's both. So you got to start by sort of breaking down that narrative to make sure people actually really know what they're looking at, that there is no one thing. If your business is, like you said, in B2B is so much more unique. And that's primarily who we work with, you know, is B2B and manufacturing and distribution. And like the one commonality is that everyone's different. Because everyone
is different, like even in the same industry.
Yeah. Like
completely different.
I want what they got. I'm like, but you don't know what you just like. Control C, Control V. Yeah.
I think what you're highlighting is just there's such a knowledge gap, especially in these legacy B2B companies who they don't know e-commerce, you know? And the people that do know e-commerce, like you, that are experts, it's so hard sometimes to bridge that gap, you know, and help them understand. It takes a lot of time and patience.
But that's our job, and we got to get better at doing that. You know, that's what we're tasked for. That's why people would hire us versus not. And so, like, you know, we got to get better at that. And I think that's also, there's two sides to it. Breaking down the narrative that there is no easy button in this stuff, but also working really hard to make it as much of an easy button as possible at the same time, because we're all consumers and we all have busy lives and we all like want it. You know, a lot of the pushback is coming from these years of working with Magento and platforms that are going to that are a lot more wieldy. I know there's unwieldy. Is there wieldy? Yeah. But they're
pretty unwieldy sometimes.
You know, right. Or unwieldy. Yeah. But you know, it's like,
is anything wieldy these days? I feel like everything's unwieldy, especially in B2B, right? Like
that's the next topic. What's wieldy?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, you know, people have like had we had somebody recently that got hacked because they hadn't done a version upgrade in a long time, and you know, it's
you gotta do that with Magento.
And they're now going to another platform because of that.
Wow.
Whereas, I mean, we built them. I mean, these were. Anyway, there's a lot of really good stuff you can do, and people can move away from the right platform because of something like that. It's understandable, right? It's like, I get it, you know? Yeah, it feels like a lot. I got to keep up with these upgrades every so often. It's going to cost this much, you know, versus like it just happens. Like, oh, there's no version of Shopify. Boom, it's there. But then they also want to have these complex solutions.
Workflows, custom price books, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so that's what we got to figure out. And that's what I'm excited about, is that I think people have been putting thought into that for a while now because consumers have been demanding it. You know, the users of these platforms have been demanding this, and folks like Shopify started that narrative. And even if it wasn't true entirely, just the fact that they're pushing that narrative, the same reason Amazon pushes, you know, same day deliveries and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe that's not possible and it hurts other small businesses, but it does make us change what we're trying to solve. And so there's a lot of smart people out there.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, all right, well, people are demanding this, and let's figure out how to, you know.
Yeah, especially I think now we're seeing such a rise in B2B e-commerce, right? And so it's kind of forcing the market to address those challenges because more B2B companies are saying, hey, I want to sell this way now. I'm ready to start doing this. And that they jump into it, and it's a bear. And so how can we break down that complexity for them and create, you know, solutions for them that make it work? Because B2B is so different than B2C in so many ways.
It is.
So,
I mean, there's a whole like B2B is the same as B2C movement, and I get it where that comes from. There are Like as far as like when you're talking about it's just people that you're dealing with, ultimately, yes, it's person to person, but
yeah,
you know that's not
it's
the
not.
case
I
when
mean,
it's,
I went into it thinking, oh yeah, B2C. We just put some SKUs up and set up a shopping cart and have fixed pricing, and man, the money's just gonna roll in.
Yeah.
It doesn't
That's
happen
not how it
that
works.
way.
Wait, what?
Dang, it's not like selling shoes. Oh shoot.
Well, and again, it's back to how you sell this stuff, and if people are selling it like that, then people believe it, and so there's a responsibility of people that are selling these platforms, selling the the integrations and stuff like that they're being realistic and setting those expectations accurately, because otherwise everyone's like, well, Joe said I could get the easy button. Why can't you get me the easy button?
So true. And really like taking the time to understand the business. I think the clients, especially in B2B, they really respect and trust you more if you like know the ins and outs and the intricacies of their operations. Because B2B is B2B e-commerce is so operational.
100%.
So much more than marketing, right?
Yep.
I mean, marketing's still an important part of that, but so much of it is how can we create a more frictionless customer experience through the whole process.
Right.
So that's more of the challenging part with B2B than B2C, I think.
Manufacturers are used to figuring out all the places they can tighten the screw to make things efficient.
Yes.
They might not have experience in the e-commerce world as proportionate to, consumer packaged goods or something like that, but they absolutely have the experience in business because that's how they've been able to stay afloat and grow and stay alive. Is those efficiencies, and so you have to be able to. You're not selling them e-commerce.
Yeah,
you're just simply translating what all the work they've already put into and how that works to a digital channel.
Exactly. It's not e-commerce; it's commerce, right?
Yeah,
it's commerce.
Yeah, that's right. There's also no hyphen in e-commerce, but that's a whole nother debate.
I know. Is it e-commerce with a capital C?
Yeah.
Or e-commerce with a lowercase c? Like, what's the rules, Noah? Tell us.
First of all, I don't think people argue about this enough. I think people need to argue about this more because it's a really important thing to argue about. Yeah.
There's so many topics to be talking about, like World War III, Ukraine. But let's talk about how e-commerce should be spelled. Hyphen or no hyphen?
I mean, maybe this is the answer to world peace. But,
it's really annoying, and when it autocorrects me to the hyphen, I'm really pissed off.
Me too.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's not e-commerce with a hyphen.
Right. How are you going to autocorrect me wrong?
Exactly. Right? Jeez.
No,
Anyway.
So here's why I think. Because there's no hyphen in email. And there's no capital M in email.
Yes.
It's just a word.
Who made this up?
Right.
You know what? We need to solve this problem.
Yeah.
That's our mission.
Yeah, I mean, I think, once this gets unlocked and cohesion forms around this, everything else in this planet will fall into place.
Yes.
World hunger, world wars, I think.
It'll all work itself out.
Start small.
To solve that.
Yeah.
Little steps, baby steps. Well, Noah, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for grabbing me.
Yeah, this will be so fun. So you're officially, I don't know if I told you, but you are live. So you're live.
Oh, great.
In case you knew, and you did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And listeners, thanks so much for tuning in. This is the amazing Noah. He's fantastic. We're so grateful that you came on. And thanks for all you do for the Magento community and all you do for B2B companies, helping them move to e-commerce. It is no small feat.
No.
It's no small feat at all.
You know it firsthand.
Yes, we both know.
Cool.
So thank you. Enjoy your tea.
Thank you. Yes, beautiful living room.
Yes. And you know what?
Breakfast nook, maybe.
So this is our lovely Hello Moxie swag bag for our listeners. Okay, and we even have a book. You can give it to Mark.
Okay. All right.
This is a book of our first 10 guests that came on the show. It's pretty cool, and you get a pen in there and all that fun stuff. So thank you for being a guest.
Yeah,
yes.
I didn't even know I was going to get some cool swag to go with it. I would have definitely,
Well, since you didn't take a cookie, you get the bag. So,
perfect.
Anyway,
and Marty will be here shortly too.
Oh, cool.
So.
Can she come over? I'd love to have her.
Absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. She'll be here. Might be
later.
after everything's shut
She'll
down.
be at the after party. I'll catch her there then.
The important stuff: dinner and dancing.
Exactly. Right by the pool. You can't miss that.
For sure.
I wish we could be live at the pool party. That would be the best. But yeah.
That's under.
Then we can catch Noah dancing and drinking. That would be that would be really the best part.
Maybe I was thinking about jumping off of that bridge into the pool.
Oh, you would do that. You totally would do that. I could see it. I could see you doing a flip off that bridge.
No, I'm not the flip guy.
You're not the flip guy.
I'd flip and I'd probably belly flop and rupture something. So
right.
yeah.
I don't know. I thought of you as a flip guy, but all right.
Yeah.
We'll see. No, you're the e-commerce with no hyphen guy.
Right. But the name with a hyphen, which they did not put on my badge.
Oh, they did not? That is shocking.
Yeah, it's
That's surprising.
I'm thinking of dropping it anyway.
Are you really?
Yeah. Credit cards hate it.
Yeah,
Airline
I can
carriers
imagine
hate it.
it's an annoying thing.
They always tell me I'm an invalid character.
Yeah, but I think that's cool. That says a lot about your parents. Sounds like your mom was a pretty progressive woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were in the first sort of like round of the hyphenators. I feel like maybe a little bit past
Yeah.
that, but yeah, there was an era that kind of kicked off the hyphenators. So, but
you are a child hyphenator. That's great. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Noah.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Hello Moxie e-commerce edition. Thanks for joining us as we bring you the latest news in the e-commerce industry and celebrate diversity and innovation in the tech sector.